European fans are not just visiting America for the World Cup, they are taking over little pieces of it. And honestly, it is one of the funniest cultural experiments I have ever seen, because America thought it was hosting matches. Very reasonable. Stadiums, hotels, security plans, fan zones, airport arrivals, all the official grown-up infrastructure. But then the fans arrived, and suddenly the World Cup stopped being an event on a schedule and became a moving international street festival with scarves. There are fans singing in subway stations, fans turning public squares into pre-match concerts, fans discovering American gas stations like they found ancient ruins, fans walking into buck teas and reacting like someone invented civilization and put brisket in it, fans standing in giant outdoor stores staring at fishing gear like this is a museum of national identity, fans from Europe looking at American portion sizes with the same expression Americans have when we see a British washing machine in the kitchen. And I am sorry, but this is exactly what I wanted from a North American World Cup. Not just the football, the collision, the moment where somebody from Germany, Norway, England, the Netherlands, Spain or France steps into an American place that locals barely think about and says, "What is this magical madness?" Because that is the thing. Americans are used to being the country that exports culture. Movies, music, fast food, brands, sports entertainment, slang, politics, chaos, all of it. But now, during the World Cup, America is also being watched in person by fans who have brought their own culture with them, and they are reacting to us like we are the weird ones. And sometimes, fair. If you are enjoying this whole summer of America being politely invaded by football scarves and emotional Europeans, make sure you are subscribed because the culture shock is basically writing the videos for us. The first way European fans are taking over America is through public space. Americans do public space differently. A lot of our cities are built around cars, private venues, stadium parking, shopping centers, and designated event zones. We gather, absolutely, but we often gather where we have been told the gathering is supposed to happen. That matters because public space in America can feel oddly private. A street is for moving through. A mall is for buying things. A parking lot is for storing cars. A plaza is often decorative until an event organizer tells everyone what it is for. European football fans arrive with a different instinct. They treat space as usable. If there is enough room to stand together, there is enough room to become a crowd. If there is enough room to sing, football fans do not always wait for permission. They see a plaza and think, "Lovely, we live here now." They see a train and think, "Excellent acoustics." They see a street corner and think, "This could use a flag and a song about a left back." That is why the videos are so funny. European fans are not necessarily doing anything complicated. They are walking, singing, drinking, chanting, gathering, waving flags, moving as a group. But in an American setting, it looks dramatic because our public life is often not built for that kind of spontaneous collective noise. In Britain, I learnt that football fans can turn almost any journey into part of the match. The walk to the stadium is not dead time. The pub before the match is not separate from the match. The train ride is not just transportation. It is a warm-up, a rehearsal, a warning sign. In America, we tend to separate the experience into zones. Tailgate here, enter stadium here, sit here, cheer here, leave here. The World Cup fan does not respect those borders. The whole day becomes the event. The second way they are taking over is by making American cities feel briefly foreign to themselves. That is not an insult. It is actually beautiful. You can already see this in the way local news and social feeds are reacting. A group of Norwegian fans doing a rowing-style celebration in New York is not just a sports clip. It becomes a city clip. German fans gathering in huge numbers becomes not only a football moment, but a tourism moment. People who normally do not care about group stage fixtures suddenly care because the fans have made the city itself part of the spectacle. That is the takeover. Not violence, not domination, atmosphere. A corner of New York can suddenly sound Norwegian. A brewery in Toronto can feel German. A street in Atlanta can turn Spanish for 10 minutes. A pub in Boston can become England with worse air conditioning. A sidewalk in Philadelphia can become whatever country just scored and lost all emotional control. That is what makes the World Cup different from a normal international tourist wave. Tourists usually blend into the city. Football fans announce themselves. They do not simply visit landmarks. They turn landmarks into backdrops for national feeling. The Statue of Liberty is not just the Statue of Liberty when a group of fans in matching shirts are singing beside it. Times Square is already overstimulating, but add a crowd doing a synchronized chant, and suddenly it feels like New York has been plugged into European football electricity. A random sports bar becomes a temporary embassy. A hotel lobby becomes a tactical debate. An airport gate becomes a choir with luggage. And if you are American, it is strange because we are used to our spaces defining the visitor experience. The visitor comes to us and experiences America. But now the visitors are bringing so much energy that they are reshaping the space around them. America is still the host, but for a few hours at a time, the fans are the weather. The third way European fans are taking over America is through sound. American sports crowds are loud, but European football sound has a different texture. It is not only cheering, it is songs with history. It is chants that travel from stadium to street. It is sarcasm with a melody. It is drums, claps, call and response, and that slightly terrifying confidence of people who know they can start singing in public and other people will join instead of pretending not to know them. That last part is huge. In America, if one person starts singing loudly in public, everyone else does a quick safety assessment. In football culture, if one person starts the right song, the group catches it. That creates a kind of instant community. Americans are not always used to seeing outside concerts or college campuses, and the World Cup supercharges it because national fans arrive already knowing the script. They know the songs, they know the jokes, they know who they are mocking, what they hope for, what they fear, and what line will make everyone laugh. You cannot manufacture that overnight. That is why some American fan attempts look awkward by comparison. I say this lovingly, we are trying, but supporter culture is like sourdough starter. You cannot make it real in a conference room by Tuesday. It needs time, repetition, local flavor, and probably a few embarrassing early versions everyone agrees never to mention again. Also, this is the kind of behind-the-scenes cultural difference I talk about more with members, because the main channel can show the big funny contrast, but the deeper story is why these rituals survive across generations. The fourth way they are taking over is by discovering America with a level of enthusiasm Americans usually reserve for leaving America. And the funniest part is that Europeans often fall in love with the most aggressively normal American things. Not always the museum, not always the skyline. Sometimes it is a convenience store the size of an airport terminal. Sometimes it is a cup of soda, so large it looks medically irresponsible. Sometimes it is barbecue served in a tray like a religious offering. Sometimes it is a store with a waterfall inside because apparently America looked at retail and said, what if we added a landscape feature? This has been one of my favorite parts. International fans are not only reacting to stadiums or famous landmarks, they are reacting to everyday American things. Huge gas stations, giant drinks, barbecue, Waffle House, Bass Pro Shops, Walmart, free refills, air conditioning that feels like a weather event, parking lots so large they could have their own mayor, and the reactions are hilarious because Americans do not see these things as exotic. A Bucebusses is just a Bucebusses if you grew up around it. To a European fan, it can look like a motorway service station, took pre-workout and became a theme park. The bathrooms are clean, the snacks are infinite, there is brisket, there is merch, there are beaver logos everywhere, and nobody can explain why it feels patriotic, but it does. This is where the cultural exchange becomes sweet instead of just funny. European fans arrive with their chants and flags, but then America surprises them too. They expected maybe expensive tickets, big distances, weird transport, and confusing tipping. They did not necessarily expect to be emotionally moved by a gas station sandwich. That is the magic of travel. You do not always fall in love with the official thing. Sometimes you fall in love with the weird, ordinary thing locals forgot was weird. The fifth way European fans are taking over is by challenging America's comfort with control. American events are managed intensely. Security lines, bag policies, parking instructions, designated entry points, sponsored fan experiences, official merchandise, official everything. It is organized, sometimes impressively, sometimes suffocatingly. This is where host cities have a tricky balance. If they clamp down too hard, they kill the very thing that makes the World Cup feel different. If they do too little, crowds can become messy, unsafe, or miserable, especially in heat. The art is not pretending football fans are ordinary tourists. They are not. They move in groups. They arrive early. They stay loud. They need water, shade, transit, toilets, and somewhere to put all that emotion before it spills into places that cannot handle it. Football fans bring a more chaotic social energy, not necessarily unsafe, not automatically unruly, but less polished. They want to gather before the official gathering. They want to sing on the way to the official singing. They want to make their own route, their own joke, their own moment. They turn the margins of the event into the real content. That can make American authorities nervous. And to be fair, managing crowds is serious. Safety matters. Nobody wants disorder, especially at an event this large. But there is a difference between managing a crowd and accidentally draining the life out of it. The best host cities are going to be the ones that understand fan culture needs space, not just rules. Fan festivals, public viewing areas, transit planning, open streets, clear communication, and places where people can gather without being treated like a problem before they have done anything wrong. Why treats? That is what makes a World Cup feel alive. The sixth way European fans are taking over is by showing Americans what traveling support looks like at scale. We travel for sports in the US, but the distances are brutal and the rhythm is different. European football fans are used to the idea that travel is part of support. Trains, buses, ferries, cheap flights, group marches, away sections. The journey is not just logistics, it is identity. And it is not only Europe, of course. South American fans, African fans, Asian fans, fans from every corner of the tournament bring their own version of this. But European fans are especially interesting in America because so many Americans have a romantic image of Europe as polished, historical, cafe-based, and quietly sophisticated. Then the football fans arrive and start singing in a train station with the confidence of people who have never once asked, "Is this too much?" It is a useful correction. Europe is not just museums and pastries. Europe is also a man in a replica shirt shouting about a referee before noon. At a World Cup, that travel becomes epic. People cross oceans. They save money for years. They follow their country from city to city. They build their entire summer around a fixture list that might emotionally destroy them by the second group match. That is why the energy can seem so intense. These people did not casually stop by. They came with purpose. If your national team has not reached this stage in decades, every street becomes part of the memory. Every song matters. Every photo matters. Every random American who says good luck becomes part of the story. And America, because it is enormous and strange and full of spectacle, becomes the perfect stage for that story. If this video is making you proud, confused, or both, hype it up and tell me which European fan base has been the funniest in America so far, because I genuinely cannot choose. Now, we have to be honest, European fans taking over America is not all cute viral videos and group singing. There are real tensions. Tickets are expensive. Hotels are expensive. Distances are difficult. Public transport is not equally strong in every host city. Some fans arrived worried about politics, visas, policing, healthcare costs, gun violence, and whether the US would feel welcoming. Some of those concerns are fair. And on the American side, locals can feel overwhelmed. A city does not magically become ready for global football culture because FIFA put it on a schedule. Workers have to manage crowds. Transit systems get stressed. Neighborhoods deal with noise. Residents worry about prices and short-term rentals. A tournament that feels magical to visitors can feel complicated to people who live there. That tension matters. The World Cup is not just a party, it is also a machine, and machines can crush ordinary people if nobody is careful. And that is why the fan takeover feels so important. The official machine can make the tournament feel cold. Prices, sponsors, rules, security, schedules, hotel rates. The fans put warmth back into it. They remind everyone that before football became a global business, it was people gathering around a simple game and making too much noise because caring quietly was never enough. But inside all that, the fan energy is still something rare. You can criticize FIFA, ticket prices, broadcasters, sponsors, and the commercial machine, and still admit that the people arriving with flags are creating moments no committee could design. That is the part one love. The best World Cup moments often happen around the official event, not inside the official branding. A fan helping another fan find a train, a group sharing water in the heat, a chant breaking out in a place that has never heard it before, locals joining a song they do not understand, a child getting a scarf from a stranger. a street turning into a memory because a match is happening nearby. European fans are taking over America not because they control the tournament, but because they understand how to make themselves visible inside it. And that visibility is powerful. In American sports, fans can be loud, but the event often remains the star. In football, fans can become the image everyone remembers: the orange wall, the red march, the white shirts in the square, the drums, the flags, the people bouncing in unison, like the pavement signed a waiver. That visual language is part of football's global power. You can show someone a few seconds of a fan march with no context, and they immediately understand these people care. America is going to be changed by seeing that up close, maybe not permanently everywhere, but in little ways. A kid who watches Dutch fans march through a city might suddenly understand that sports fandom can look like music. A local who sees German fans fill a brewery might understand that public joy does not have to be embarrassing. An American soccer supporter group might see what works, what feels forced, and what has to grow naturally over time. The change might be small, but small things matter. Maybe an American fan group realizes it needs fewer slogans and more songs people actually enjoy singing. Maybe a city realizes public transit after matches is not optional decoration. Maybe broadcasters realize the crowd is not background noise to be smoothed over. Maybe casual viewers understand why the camera keeps finding the stands. The fans are part of the product, but not in a fake corporate way. They are part of the meaning. And European fans might be changed too. They might arrive thinking America is too commercial, too spread out, too artificial, too unfamiliar with the game. Then they discover immigrant neighborhoods where football culture is deep, stadiums that are massive, locals who are curious, volunteers who are kind, and ordinary American weirdness that somehow becomes part of their trip. Some of them may also have to adjust their own assumptions. America is not one uniform sports theme park. It is immigrant neighborhoods, suburban families, Latino watch parties, Black soccer communities, college towns, huge cities, tiny bars opening early, and locals who might not know every chant, but still know how to welcome people. If visiting fans only arrive to mock America, they miss the better story. This country is messy enough to absorb almost anything, including thousands of people singing about football in places built for cars. That is the best version of this tournament, not Europe teaching America how to be real fans, not America teaching Europe how to enjoy a gas station, but both sides realizing the other is stranger and warmer than expected. Because yes, Europeans are taking over America. They are taking over streets, bars, stations, timelines, restaurants, fan festivals, and probably at least one confused suburban neighborhood that did not know why there were 20 people singing outside at noon. But America is taking over them a little too, with size, with friendliness, with absurd snacks, with stadiums that look like spaceships, with air conditioning, with the kind of welcome that happens when a local asks where you are from and suddenly becomes emotionally invested in your team's group stage chances. That is what makes this so funny and kind of beautiful. The World Cup is not just showing America football, it is showing America being seen by football people. And as an American living in the UK, I find that delicious because for once, America is not just exporting the show. America is the setting, the punchline, the surprise, the giant parking lot, the friendly stranger, the expensive hotel, the unbelievable brisket, the confusing train connection, the huge stadium, and the place where a group of European fans can sing so loudly that everyone stops pretending not to stare. So let them take over a little. Give them the square. Give them the subway car. Give them the brewery. Give them the gas station experience that changes a life. Let America feel what it is like when football fandom spills out of the stadium and refuses to stay politely in its assigned seat. Because this is the World Cup. The match is only part of it. The rest is what happens when the world shows up, looks around America and says, right, where are we singing?